Postmodifiers. Clauses is postmodifiers. Finite relative clauses. Clauses acting as postmodifiers are relative clauses. Finite relative clauses are introduced by the pronouns who, whom, whose, which, that, or a zero relative pronoun. For example, that's the group to whom they should consider making an incentive payment. Another example is the police haven't even interviewed those people whose house was burgled. I've left some books which you will need in the main office. That car that she wanted has been sold. Did you make the call he asked you to make? Post-modifying relative clauses are of two types: defining and non-defining. A defining relative clause identifies the noun which it post-modifies and distinguishes it from other nouns. In the following sentence, who lives abroad tells us that there is more than one sister and identifies the one who lives abroad as the one who is ill. For example, his sister who lives abroad got taken seriously ill. Non-defining relative clauses provide further information about the preceding noun, but do not identify it. In the following sentence, the relative clause simply adds extra information about the sister rather than defining her. For example, his sister who lives abroad got taken seriously ill. The different punctuation reflects these differences in meaning. Defining and non-defining relative clauses are also termed restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. Non-finite relative clauses. Post-modifying relative clauses may also be non-finite. The common types of non-finite relative clauses are consisting of a stone arc and two sections for vegetables. For example, I've got a walled garden consisting of a stone arch and two sections for vegetables. So here it is ing clause. Another example is the guy running the event looks pretty well off, doesn't he? So here non-finite relative clauses running the event. Another example is with ed clauses. The effort required to lift these weights is considerable. So here the non-finite relative clauses required to lift these weights. Another example is the protests caused by the lack of tickets were the responsibility of the organizers. So here the non-finite relative clauses caused by the lack of tickets. Another example is with two infinitive clauses. For example, he certainly is an actor to watch out for. So here the non-finite relative clause is to watch out for. Another example is pictures to be seen in the gallery include a fine 18th century watercolor. So here the non-finite relative clause is to be seen in the gallery. Another example is with ing clause. It's got a walled garden consisting of a stone arch and two sections for vegetables. So here the non-finite relative clause is consisting of a stone arch and two sections for vegetables. Non-finite relative clauses can be defining or non-defining. For example, I am looking for a house to buy. Here it's a defining relative clause. The defining relative clause is to buy. For example, I am looking for a house to buy. Now, non-defining relative clause. A large sum of money donated by PetSmart Foods has also been invested in improved kennel facilities. So here donated by PetSmart Foods is non-defining. Non-finite relative clauses can be defining or non-defining. So here non-defining finite relative clauses donated by PetSmart Foods. Prepositional phrases as postmodifiers. Prepositional phrases are an extremely common type of postmodifier. They function in a manner similar to defining relative clauses. Cars with disc brakes on all four wheels have been proved to be safer. Cars which have disc brakes on all four wheels. The 5 main proposals in the plan were considered at yesterday's meeting. The 5 main proposals which are in the plan. He has lots of friends, but that was a friend of long standing. But that was a friend who was a long standing.